when you would use an MRI, this is, you see this tendon is high signal, it is contracted, there's a very big mass-like thing over here. This is a ruptured muscle. And there again, this is a very small, shrunken, contracted muscle because it has lost its continuity. And again, a big muscle tear, complete muscle tear. You see that this is discontinuous here. What is hematoma? Hematoma is again a very elegantly seen on MRI only because this is blood in different phases, and blood in different phases degenerates into first oxyhemoglobin, then deoxyhemoglobin, then intracellular methemoglobin, then extracellular methemoglobin, and finally into hemosiderin. All these things have their own signals, and they range from very high signal to very low signal. Finally, when you get hemosiderin or extracellular methemoglobin, the highest signal you see over there, which is very, very dark, and there again is what differentiates an ordinary cyst from a hematoma. It becomes very clear. There it is, mixed signal intensity there, and you're getting onto a more chronic sort of a hematoma. We have high signal and low signal and intermediate signal. And again, the high signal and the low signal here tell us that this is a hematoma, a very mixed signal within there. And that's what it looks like on CT with calcified rim of calcification. And what happens later on? It ossifies, it calcifies. And what happens to calcium? As soon as you start getting calcium in this tumor, you start to lose the signal. Again, calcium, no available water molecules, and this is going to become dark. This is what it looks like on CT, but you lose signal on MR. That's an X-ray with the same thing. Infection, again beautifully seen on MRI. That's a discitis. You see this necrotic area between the discs, large psoas muscle here on both sides, and on the axial images again. Tenosynovitis, again, the causes are multiple. The important thing is this tendon should be completely surrounded by fluid. That's the important thing on this side. You must see it circumferential high signal around it. That's fluid around this tendon, which is tendinitis, tenosynovitis. Inflammation, rheumatoid arthritis, again, the important thing is we do not image ordinary cases of rheumatoid arthritis. It's not MR because the information that you get on plain X-rays is good enough. It's very good. So don't bother doing this. This was just incidental. When we saw a lot of pannus over here, when we gave contrast, it's all enhancing right there. That's a lot of material which is enhancing, inflammatory material. Angst point, again, X-rays are good enough. You don't really need MR. There are very early cases of MR can be picked up on MR of ankylosing spondylitis can be picked on MR even before X-rays. Tumor-like conditions. Now these are very interesting cases, and when you see these chondrite low signal areas within this joint, this is PVNS with pigmented which is a pigmented thing, and this is the hemosiderin, and that is why it is very black on all image sequences. So even on T2, these things are very, very bright, pigmented lesions. And we have one with in the knee joint where you can see erosive changes due to pressure erosions. It's a benign condition. And you see all these low signal areas, and you see that the low signal on all the images, that's fluid, which is bright. Giant cell tumor of the tendon, which is the same thing as a PVNS, only it's around the tendon, it's extra along the tendon, and there is one. And again, it is elegantly seen on MR because it has a sort of a fatty density on MR. Okay, bone marrow infiltration, you can look at osteoporotic and pathological fractures. There are differences there. There's a bit of fat in there, and these are metastatic deposits. Sensitivity and specificity of MRI for osteonecrosis exceeds that of all other modalities. That's an important disease to be looking at when imaging. Then you ask for MRI. Accurate and early diagnosis, of course, very important. And of course, these are all the causes for it. Marrow edema early,